Public Affairs very much thanks Residco, our sole corporate underwriter, for helping to make the production of this show possible.
You're watching Public Affairs. Berkowitz is my name, and politics is our game. And we will be doing lots of politics and public policy because we have Mr. Public Policy here today. Ted Dabrowski, formerly of Illinois Policy Institute, formerly of WirePoints, now running for governor in the Illinois Republican primary. Ted, everybody wants to know, of course, you have a shot at winning the general election, but if you don't win the primary, there is no general. So will you absolutely, for sure, positive? I'm setting this up, folks. All the other candidates can come. We'll set it up for you, too, if you're brave enough to show up. Okay, Ted, the point is, will you for sure win the Republican primary for governor in Illinois?
I'm doing everything I can to do that. I'm here to win.
You're here to win.
Mm-hmm.
Make the case. Why will people vote for you over your three opponents?
Well, let's see. Why will people vote for me? Start off is, I've had a professional career for 15 years internationally. I was in Mexico for 6 years, in Poland for 9. So I've got a pretty good just worldview of things, and having worked in the private sector for a long time. On top of that, I've worked for 15 years in public policy. So I've dedicated myself to Illinois and public policy for 15 years, looking at the tax problem, the outmigration problem, the corruption problem, the budget problem. I know the issues really, really deeply, and so I'm the one that can put all that together. The other big thing is I'm from Cook County, born in Chicago, son of immigrants, a Latina mother, Polish father. So I have a good feel for this amazing city, this amazing state, and I think I've also put the coalition together, the only one that's put together a real coalition to beat Pritzker. So you put all that together, and I'm positioned to win this primary.
Who's number two? Who's your closest competitor?
Well, Bailey, by definition, he had $50 million spent on him last time by Dick Uihlein. Pritzker's PAC supported Bailey so that Bailey would be his opponent, Pritzker's opponent. So he's got the name ID. He also ran for the Congress against Mike Bost. So he's got name ID from that. So he's got the name ID. It's a residual name ID. He's not having the same success in raising money. Now he's not raising money. Dick Uihlein is now with us in the Dabrowski campaign. So he's in a tough spot because he lost big last time in the suburbs. I supported him, by the way, last time.
But you supported Bailey last time. If you tutored him, right?
Well,
that would be fair.
I'd say we worked a lot together. I've worked with many legislators over the past on all the policies. But Bailey's got a tough challenge because he's people know he can't win. He lost by 35 points in the suburbs in Cook County last time. So Bailey lost to Pritzker by 35 points in Cook County in the suburbs.
Excuse me, Bailey lost
and he
to
lost
Pritzker,
by almost 13 points overall. So that's I think people know that. And this time around, Bailey's not raising the money. He does not have the same support. A group like Illinois Family Action, right, the pro family group supporting us now, was with Bailey before. Some downstate donors that were with Bailey before, now with us. So we're coalescing the support. We're coalescing the let's call it the influencer support. We've done much better at raising money across the board, and so I think we've built the best coalition.
Counting your own loan, $1.5 million raised to start with, right?
Yep.
A good chunk of that's still left. You're going to bring in another good chunk of change. What's your estimate?
We're spending it now. We built the ground game. We're the only ones with a true ground game, with a hired ground game, so that's key.
Describe your ground game. What is your ground game?
Well, we got people who are hired in the different regions to work on the volunteering, the door knocking, the phone calling, getting the signs
around
out.
The state? Are you covering much of the state, or you got key areas?
Still got you focus where you can, right? Southern Illinois, the Bloomington Normal area, somebody up near Rockford. We got somebody in Cook County. So we got different people covering the area. So we got a ground game. And now, since the beginning of January, we've been spending money on social media, getting the name out. Name ID is what we have to build. And, we ran the ads. We ran ads during the Bears playoffs game.
Do you think they helped a lot?
Oh, they helped a lot. It's tremendous. We've almost got 1 million views on the second ad on YouTube, almost 1 million views. So it's been really helpful.
So you'll see, because they want some polling. Emerson poll a while back had it at 34.8, right?
Yep.
And Bailey did his own poll, so that's his own poll. Okay, who knows what that is? But you think you're moving that now since Emerson?
Oh yeah, that was early January.
Name recognition.
Yeah, that was early January before anybody's paying attention, right? Nobody's paying attention. Only the diehards are paying attention in January to a primary in March. But now people are looking. Of course, the press is covering it. You got social media. You got a lot of events. We're going to have debates and stuff like that. So people are now looking, and that's why we're spending the money now. A lot on social, a lot on Hulu and streaming and all that. So that's been key.
Is there a driving issue in this race right now in the Republican primary?
No, there's no doubt what the driving issue is. It's taxes, and property taxes is the killer. And it doesn't matter where I've been. I've been to Southern Illinois. I spent a lot of time down there. Central Illinois, west side of Chicago was there. Right after they were burning the property tax bills there. Everywhere you go,
North
Rockford. It doesn't matter where you go. It is property taxes, and people feel like they're just having their opportunity just taken away from them.
Well, because the property taxes are the highest in this state than anywhere else, right?
Yeah, the highest in the country. Highest in the country. We're second for a long time behind New Jersey, and then we overtook New Jersey under Pritzker.
Yeah, because if you look, if you look around the country, Illinois has five or six of the top 10 metro areas in terms of high property tax. 5 or 6 are in Illinois.
Yeah, I mean we dominate.
Chicago's
we dominate for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
I mean, I was looking at the data today. I held a press conference this morning. It's amazing how big our bureaucracy is, how expensive it is, how duplicative it is, how overlapping it is, and nobody does anything about it. And you know what happens? All that bureaucracy, they keep raising taxes to pay for it, and everyday Illinois are just getting hammered.
That was probably true 4 years ago.
Oh, it's always been true.
When Bailey ran, did he make that point? How could he not?
Yeah, we've been a lot of us have been making the point for a long time. Pritzker has not done a thing about it, right? Pritzker's not done a thing about it, and he promised in his 2020 State of the Union speech he would do something about it. He created a commission. The commission did nothing, and here we are, taxes much higher.
So what would you do about it if you were not just the nominee, but if you were governor of the state of Illinois? What would you do about property taxes?
Yeah, well, first thing you do is expose where the money's going, right? People need to, if people want reductions, they need to know where the money's going and vote against where it's going. So I was showing where all this money's going. First of all, we have the most units of government in the country, by far. But it's going to be at least 3 times the number of governments that Florida has. When you have that,
the number of what?
Governments.
Right.
Number of units of government.
Number of units in Illinois.
And when you have the most units of government, that means you're going to have all kinds of bureaucrats filling those roles. So that's the problem. And not only do you have the heads, but you have all the baggage holders, right, for those heads. They all have super high pay because this is Illinois, which means super high benefits. So you got to start rolling that back. You have to roll back the executive pay. I showed examples of Kevin Nolte, who's the superintendent of I'm drawing a blank here. Dalton. Yeah, and so over $580,000 in total comp, a $500,000 salary, and just 15% of kids can read at grade level. And here's the problem: he's not an outlier. There's a whole bunch of guys making $450,000, close to $500,000. When those salaries go up like that, everybody else has the ambition to catch them, right? Everybody wants to be similar to that. And so you see salaries all go up. All those salaries become big pensions.
All around. Hinsdale's got to compete.
Hinsdale, yeah, well, you can bet New Trier.
Winnebago's got to compete.
Exactly.
New Trier, right, the whole thing, right?
So they all go up. Assistant superintendents go up, principals go up, and that's a big part of the problem. The other big part of the problem we're looking at is we still have pension spiking or salary spiking. End of career, you say you're going to retire. I was looking at Joliet's contract. You say you're going to retire, you get automatic 4 or 5 years of automatic raises of 5 or 6%. Automatic. It has nothing to do with merit. Doesn't have, you have no idea what your level is, whether you deserve it or not. And again, that's
just driving it up from 500,000 to 700,000.
Well, this would be for teachers and other workers.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about in the contracts. So you're talking about automatic hikes of 25 to 30% at the end of somebody's career,
Right.
which pushes up the pensions. Those are in the contracts. Ordinary Illinois don't get something like that. They don't even have long-term contracts, much less guaranteed raises when you say you're going to retire. That's the kind of stuff we have. And we have double dipping. We're still doing double dipping. I showed an example of one of my previous superintendents who retired with a full pension at 59 and has now worked the last 5 years half-time in 5 different districts, drawing a salary of $175,000. So $250,000 pension, $175,000 salary, double dipping. Why do we allow that stuff? And look, it's not that person's fault that he's doing that. It's a he. The problem is that our laws allow that to happen. The legislature does. And then what happens is that everyday Illinois have to pay for that. And they're saying, I've had enough. I'm leaving. And that's why we keep losing people.
So if you're there as governor, if you've won the primary, you win the general election, can you do anything with that legislature? But you're still going to have, obviously, super majorities. What do you do with the legislature? How do you peel any off? Even if you don't win, you get some votes. Is that what you try to do? Well,
yeah, you get some votes. You try to win over people. You try to persuade people. You know, I would ask. Let's see. I don't know who the legislator around Dalton is, but you know, is that fair? Is paying $588,000 in total compensation to Kevin Nolte, is that fair when the taxpayers can't afford it? And that legislator has to be held accountable and make them say yes, or ask them if they're willing to reform it. And what we need to do is work with the public. The public needs to understand that their taxes are high because look at these things that you don't get, but you have to pay for.
But there's the performance side. So this is the cost side to government service, also, especially in the education side. And the costs are high. Say Chicago, WirePoints wrote about this a year ago, $34,000 per kid per year, up from $30,000. But the performance, Ted, you've been writing about this for so long, is awful, right?
It's horrific.
I mean, how bad is it?
It's horrific. And, we're talking about, you mentioned Chicago Public Schools, but, I always start with right now, in 2024, which would be last year's numbers, just 2% of Black third grade children in Decatur Public Schools can read a grade level. Now, I say that just 2% because 5 years ago, I pointed out for 2019, just 2% of kids were reading a grade level. Nobody's done anything about it. We made national news on the Wall Street Journal criticizing Illinois for its failures. Nothing's been done. The only thing that's been done, they lowered standards last year, so that we're at 5% now. So it's 5%. Yeah.
2%
so
to 5%.
I mean, that's how crazy we are in Illinois.
So you put this map out at WirePoints. The map around the state. They're here. You can see it. Show it up when we do it. But just right now, carry this around wherever I go, because this map, Rockford 10% Black, Peoria Blacks 9%. Quincy, Mount Vernon, it's around the state of Illinois. This was a revelation because most of us knew Chicago, but before you did the analysis,
nobody talked about this. I can't believe, I was so focused on the finances of the state, the educational finances, the budget finances, and I wasn't looking at the educational outcomes. And once I got in there, I thought it was untrue. I thought that the data was a mistake.
Right.
When I saw how few it couldn't be true. And then when I started exposing it, nobody cared. And it really bothered me that you can go from, and again, let me make my caveat because I have to always make this. I'm not hitting the teachers because I understand how difficult it is to teach inner city. I understand that families have difficult times. You got single parent households. I fault the system run by J.B. Pritzker, run by the elite who run this stuff.
Well, what has to change in the system?
Leadership.
No, but
leadership and accountability. Leadership and accountability.
So can we continue to have public schools and fix it, or do you have to have an alternative?
Oh no, you have to do lots of things, right? But number one is school choice. We've talked about this. You and I've talked about it for more than a decade. You have to have school choice. You have to give parents the freedom to choose to pull their kids out of the public schools and go somewhere else. Private schools.
Charter schools,
homeschooling. Charter schools are public schools. So it's really about private schools.
Private schools are homeschooling. Okay.
And just like they've done in Iowa, they have any family can take their kid out of the public schools, get an $8,000 education savings account and go find their educational freedom. Indiana, same thing, $8,000 voucher, go find your freedom.
Anybody, universal school choice throughout the state.
Universal meaning anybody.
High income, low income, middle income,
Doesn't matter what color you are. And that's what we need to have in Illinois. And I will fight like crazy for us to get to universal school choice. That is the driver.
So if you win, the campaign starts November 3. Because if you get elected on November 3, then you got to do this in 2027, 8. You got to have 4 years to bring about this change, right?
Yeah. But I want to come back to one more point that you asked me a question. Public schools are not going away. We can't forget about public schools. It will be the dominant place where kids go to school, even if we have school choice. And so we have to obsess about making the situation there better. So, we have to start with a law. Don't let kids go to the 4th grade if they can't read in 3rd grade. 3rd grade is a critical grade. And we can't let me say it positively. If a kid can't read in the 3rd grade, then you bring parents, teachers, union members, volunteers, corporate, whoever wants to come in and help, you get that kid reading so that when they're in 4th grade, they can have a success path. That's number one. So pass that law. Mississippi's doing it. Florida led that effort. Pass a law that says kids can't go to the 4th grade if they can't read. The other big thing for me is phonics. We've got to bring phonics back to teaching every day. I taught my kids with Hooked on Phonics. It's amazing. They've moved away from phonics in our schools. It's one of the big problems we have. Another is race standards. We should have the highest standards in the country. We want to have high standards. And we also have to get to training our teachers is another big thing. Let's get back to,
But if the public schools don't do this, they're going to lose all their kids, and so they'll go out of business. So do you really have to push them to do it, or don't you think it might dawn on them they have to do these things, or they're not going to have any customers or any money?
Well, look, we're spending billions of dollars.
Isn't that right, under school choice?
Yes, of course, but we're spending billions of dollars, so we better get it right while we're doing it, right? So unless we, public school, that's why I said public schools are not going away tomorrow. It'll take a while for school choice to happen. And then, and the public schools have to decide whether they want to compete.
So you're talking about paradigm changes on taxes. You got to cut taxes, lower taxes, whether it's property taxes, whether it's income taxes, whether it's sales taxes. And then you go over to schools, another paradigm change that you've outlined. But you're the guy who wrote the book. I just read the book, okay? You wrote it. And where else do we need a paradigm change?
Where else do we need paradigm change? Well, on crime, right? Crime.
Another book you wrote.
Yeah. Well, crime, we have to. People don't feel their physical security is at risk right now. Do you feel safe on getting on the L? Do you feel safe with your children going to schools or going out? I mean, this is a big deal. And of course, the numbers are much better today than they were 5 years ago, 4 years ago. But we're still not safe. We just have lower crime. So we have to, start at the beginning, rebuild police morale. All of that starts with that. And as governor, I will have the backs of the police because Pritzker doesn't care about police. Brandon Johnson would rather defund the police. So
police have to investigate and whether...
Well, first they need to know that they're going to be defended and supported.
Okay.
Right? Because without that...
So assume they know that, then what do they
Right. Then number two, they have to have confidence that when they take the risk to arrest somebody and they turn them in, that the prosecutors are going to prosecute and that the judges are going to sentence. And so what I'd like to do, and I think that the example of the woman who got burned by the man after being arrested 72 times on the L.
Right.
Right. When that happens, we should know who these prosecutors...
person shouldn't even been out.
Right, shouldn't have been out. So we should know who the prosecutors are that let out all these bad guys to recommit crimes.
Or who the judges.
I'm coming next. We should know who the judges are that don't sentence. And it should be very public, very clear data that the public knows who are the judges who protect our people and who are the judges who are so lenient that they keep putting bad people back out. And that data should be clear so that voters can vote them out. Or vote them in, whatever it is.
State's attorney for each county, there are almost each county, 102 counties, there are almost 100 state's attorneys around the state. They may, of course, in Cook, they had Kim Fox, who would never prosecute violent crime.
Right.
And so she was almost shamed into leaving, and Eileen O'Neill Burke, fellow Democrats in there, she told me in a press conference, I said, what are you going to do? She won her primary by saying, detain, detain, detain.
Right.
Is she doing it? Is anybody looking?
I'm sure people are looking. I don't know the numbers now. I imagine they're going to be better than what Kim Foxx had. But detain, detain, detain is right. We have to get rid of the Safety Act, right? We have to just get rid of it. Get back to bringing some cash bail back in, making sure that we're holding crimes. We're holding people for crimes until pre-trial. Just get back to protecting the people.
So your competitor's Darren Bailey. Is he going through the same paradigm? Is he tracing it out on violence, on education, on taxes? Is he mimicking you?
I'm not going to talk about his campaign. I think what people need to know is that, the key issues. Darren had 58% of the primary vote last time. He won the primary with 58%. I mentioned I supported him. The recent poll by Emerson shows him at 34. So he's lost 24 points of support. And, that's a very damning thing.
Is that for him losing against Pritzker? So people say, what's different now?
I think, a lot of people say, well, why would we vote for Bailey again? I mean, he's got his strong supporters who will support him. But many will say, why would we support, why would we do, it's Groundhog Day today. Why would we do the same thing again and vote for Bailey if he's going to lose badly?
What does Darren say when he's asked that question?
And he doesn't have the $50 million. Listen, he lost badly with the $50 million. Today he doesn't have the Uline support. I have the Uline support. So I'm just saying that I can't follow what Bailey's saying on the campaign trail, but I think that's the key differentiator right now for us.
Rick Heidner's in there. He's a newcomer. Put $100 million. Mm-hmm. He has $100 million in net worth. Put $1 million into his campaign. He probably could do at least a few million more. He's running a lot of ads. Mm-hmm. Do you think he's going to be an effective competitor with you?
Well, nobody knows Rick yet. They're getting to know him. He's out there promoting that he's a businessman. He's a businessman who operates in the gambling space.
That's his experience. That's his business. Real estate and gaming, right?
Right. Real estate and gaming, of course, the combination of the two. And
highly regulated.
Highly regulated.
Hates Governor Pritzker, maybe because Pritzker gave him some trouble with his gaming board and regulations. Possibly.
Yeah, I think again, here are the things that people need to know. In this is a campaign, right? They need to know the difference between me and in this example, Rick is that Rick operates in an industry which, for me, it's been really tough because if you look at the Illinois budget the last few years, Pritzker and others keep increasing sin taxes, right? This is how they're balancing the budget. They're balancing it on the back of the working class, more cannabis revenues, drinking revenues, cigarette revenues, gambling revenues.
These gaming things in bars and restaurants.
Yeah. And they're everywhere.
Rick has a lot of those.
That's right.
So he makes his money off the low-income people who, in a sense, gamble a lot. Right?
Yeah, right. And so the sad part, the sad part of it is to balance our budget, we need more people gambling and drinking. For his industry, for his business, he needs more people. There are going to be many of them lower income. You see where these gaming halls are. They're in the tough areas. So they're in the low income areas, and so that's painful because success comes on the back of lower income people, and for him to operate in the industry. In Illinois and in Chicago, he's got to donate to people. He's given money to Brandon Johnson. He's given money to Kim Foxx. He's given money to Preckwinkle. So
what do they say? What does he say when he's asked about giving money to Kim Foxx? Does he know what Kim Foxx was doing about not prosecuting violent crime?
Right, and anti-police and all that. Well, I think the bigger question is, and I think he'll pitch it as he's a player. He knows how to do business in Illinois, and that's how he's going to pitch it. And
he knows how to give money to people who don't want to prosecute violent crime. I mean, seriously.
Well, he'll have to answer that himself.
Yeah, Rick, come on, let's have a conversation.
That's for him to answer, but that's the difference. I would never give money to Kim Foxx, right? I would never give money to Brandon Johnson or Preckwinkle. They have an ideological view of the world that's entirely different than mine. Brandon Johnson hates the police. I could never give money to a guy that hates the police, right?
So
Kim Foxx, Kim Foxx.
We're going to be running out of time. We've hit 3 of these paradigms. We've hit schools, we've hit crime, we've hit taxes. What's your close now? What's your close going to be on March 16th?
No, we have a great opportunity to turn the state around. A great opportunity. I think there's enough disenfranchised people in Chicago, in Cook County, the suburbs, to join the Southern Illinoisans, the Central Illinoisans, and create a 50% plus one coalition to take out Pritzker. There's enough people there, and it's about bringing the quality, bringing back quality to the life in Illinois. We can do it. We can do so much better than we do under Pritzker.
All right, you come back and keep us posted all the time up to March 17. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
And you come back next week and every week to Public Affairs.